All right, I have Burley's newest Coho Thru Axle here. This is for Superboost spacing, which I have here on this pivot. This is a Trail 429. There is the model number, 960317. These were just released last week. And Superboost dropout spacing is 157. But you'll notice the 174 to 189, that's because you have to measure the entire original axle with the threads, and they have a guide on their website. And I'll show you that in more detail when I get inside. I'm going to show the axles when they are off the bikes. But anyway, on this pivot, I ended up using one very small spacer on this side. You can see that black spacer right there. And two on this side. You kind of have to play with these things until you get them just right. So I wanted to show the Burley Thru Axles on these ones also. That one's a Skewer. This is a Canyon Grizl. I think they originally came out in 2021. This is one of the older models that has a front derailleur. The rear spacing on this one is 142. So that one's 157. That one's 142. And that one is 135. That one uses a Skewer, which I'll show you in a second. These two use through axles, so you have to have the right threading and the right axle size. These are 12 by 1.0. This is the box for this one. 12 by 1.0, 158 to 174. Again, this is 142 spaced dropout. And this one works fine with some spacer. This one needed bigger spacers than this one. And on this one, this black piece here is part of the axle. That's not a spacer. So this one has a medium-sized spacer on the non-drive side, and on the drive side it has a thicker spacer. You can see it right there. So Burley has three size spacers. They have that thicker one, a medium one, and then those really, really thin ones that I showed you over there. And I don't know how wide they are, but I'll measure them when I get back inside. And then this is a 1x10. This is a Fairdale Weekender. It originally had drop bars, and this came out in 2014. It has a flat tire right now. This is the Coho 5mm Skewer. I think this is at least the second version. I know the original version, they had some issues with it. 130 to 135. And this rear dropout is 135. So this is a Skewer. You can't see the spring, but the spring's on this side. And then there's a notch on this side, and you have to make sure you get the notch in the dropout. So this pivot has a UDH hanger, and the new axles, this one here that I showed you, are compatible with UDH hangers, and I'll show it to you when I get inside. But basically it has the inside of the axle is threaded so that this part can thread in through the UDH hanger. Now, if you have one of their older through axles like this one, and you have a UDH hanger, I have a workaround for you. I'll show it to you. I'll put it in the video when I show all these axles up close. But it's from Tailfin Cycling. This is a UDH adapter. All right, I'm not sure how good this is going to look on film, but I have the camera above, and you can see both sides of the axle there. Here's the trailer hitch from Burley. You can see it locked on there. I'm going to pull on it, and then nice easy release. All right, I have these through axles here, and let's do some measurements. So let's start with a new one, because probably this one will be one of the main reasons a lot of people watch this video. So this is for Superboost spacing. I showed this outside, but there's the number 960317. Again, this is for the original axle with the threads. This is the new Superboost spaced axle. And you can see there's threads in there. So this threads into the UDH hanger. And I actually have, this isn't the hanger obviously, but this is from Tailfin Cycling. This is a UDH adapter. Whatever's holding your hanger in, you take that out, the nut out, and then you put this one in. And you can see the inner threads are 12 by 1.0. And I just got lucky that both my pivot and my Canyon are 12 by 1.0. Because I've never seen one of these adapters for any other threading. There might be one out there. Burley should be making this adapter, by the way. And so if you have one of these newer through axles, you shouldn't need one of these, although I suppose you could use it in collaboration with this axle. You shouldn't need it, but if you have one of the older axles like this one, there's no threading in there. That's an Allen key. That's a hex head. What you can do is you can buy one of these UDH adapters. I'm not going to thread it all the way back on there. And then these threads will be sticking out just like that. And then you'll have enough purchase on there for the other side. So Tailfin Cycling, excellent job. It also comes with this little piece here. And the cool thing about this is if you're going on a long trip, like if you're touring, then you can throw that extra little piece in your bag in case you need to disassemble this for some reason. This is the new axle, this is the old model. And you can see that the old model just has threads in there and it just threads straight on. So the through axle has to go all the way through your dropout. And then the other side threads on. And you need to have it to where from like here to here and here to here is equal spacing. So you're going to need different size spacers. On my Canyon, I used one of these on one side, on the drive side. I showed that outside. And then I used this one on the non-drive side. So the non-drive side goes in first like this. Thread this through, thread it in. And then you put this one on, and then you put this one on. The UDH one, you can see how the end pieces are totally different. So with the UDH one, this one threads through into the UDH hanger, and then it stops if you have a normal end like I do anyway. And then this one comes in from the other side, and it threads in here. So on my pivot, once I put these two washers on the non-drive side, this thread was just sticking out a tiny bit. So I put this one on. I don't even think I needed it, but I put it on basically just to protect the axle. So you'll have to kind of experiment with these washers. Burley has at least 3 sizes of them. And I bought these. You can buy these bigger ones on their website. I don't know if they sell the smaller ones. Burley had to send these to me. I had to convince them of why I needed them. I got these here, these thin ones, when I got this for my Canyon. And I just needed a little bit more spacer in there. And these were too big. So this new axle came with these 2 silver ones. And it came with this beveled one. I don't use the beveled ones. Certain bikes you need this. This one here, I don't remember what it came with. I think it came with one big one, one small one, and then this beveled one here. And the reason I say that is because I remember that Burley sent me 2 of these. Let me give you a close-up of these. This is the new one. This is 960317. It says right here, it says 77525, made in USA. This is a 5. The inner one is a 5. Yeah, it's a 5. I think this one's a 5 too. I think they're the same. Yeah. So that's the newer one. Let's go ahead and measure it. Looks like from this edge right here, I'm going to measure from the edge here to where the threads start, and then from this edge to where the threads end. Okay, the first measurement from the edge to the start of the threads is 167, and the actual thread length is less than 20. From the start of the threads to the very end is 20. From the start of this thread to this thread right here is about 18. Okay, now let's measure this one. So this one doesn't have the little black built-in washer. This little black, I'm going to call it a washer or spacer, but it's built in. And it actually has grip on it. It's serrated. So I thought that was strange. They got rid of that on this one. Maybe this is the newer one over here. So maybe they got some complaints about that. Maybe that was chewing up some carbon bikes or something. Who knows? But anyway, so I'm going to measure. When I say edge on this one, I'm talking about the edge of this black piece here that sits against the frame. And I'm going to take the same measurements. So on this one, and the length of the threads, from the start of the threads to the very end of the axle is 40. The writing on that one is right here. Coho TA-M12 by 1.0, 158 to 174. Let me line these up side by side. They're actually the same length. That's really strange. They're almost the same length. The Superboost one is actually 1 or 2 millimeters shorter. That is very interesting. I want to measure how far these threads go in so that people know how much thread they need sticking out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread this all the way in, then I'm going to hold my thumb right there. I'm guessing this is going to be around 20 millimeters, probably a little bit less than 20. And this is obviously not scientific at all. I don't know how I'm going to do this without moving my... Okay. Yep, just under 20 millimeters, 19. So when you're trying to figure out your spacers, you need somewhere between 15 and 19 millimeters hanging off here. 20 is too much because this thing's going to bottom out. And I would say anything less than 15 is not enough purchase to have a good... See, if you only put that much on, that's not going to be secure enough. So you need it to be almost to where... Well, let me measure this right here. Can you see that? So that the axle threads go in about 19 millimeters to right there. So when this is sticking out, you know, you could even make a little mark on there at 19, and then you could figure out where it needs to be. I had to do trial and error. It took me at least 3 times to figure out how many spacers I needed. This is the thickest one, medium, and really thin. So the smallest one is just under 2 millimeters. The medium one is 3. And the big one is the one they sell on their website. They're only $1. Oh, it's 6 millimeters. And I think the black one should be the same size. Yep, 6 millimeters. Okay, enjoy that. This is made by a company called Tailfin, and they make rack mount accessories for through axles. And they sell other stuff also. But I have this Burley trailer that's the Coho trailer, and I recently got a mountain bike that has a UDH derailleur, which this is one right here. This is the normal bolt that it comes with, and you can see that there's no way for the axle to get through the hanger with this standard UDH bolt. These are reverse threaded. So this company Tailfin came up with a rad solution, which Burley should be doing the same thing. Burley should have one of these already. This is only $15, which is a great price for such a important component. But I'm going to take the normal bolt off this UDH derailleur. This is the one that comes with the hanger. The inside threading is 12 by 1.0. I don't know if it says, yeah, it says right there. 12 by 1.0, which is the UDH standard. So this is the standard bolt that comes with, or the standard axle nut. This is the one from Tailfin. It's reverse threaded, so I'm threading it in right now. And then look at that. And it comes with this, I don't know what size this hole is. It's bigger than 10. It must be 12 probably. But it comes with this 8 millimeter adapter, which slides in there. And then you take your 8 millimeter Allen key and you can torque that down. I'm not going to tighten it too tight right now. But then when you're all done, check this out. This is the rear axle of the bike, and it's going to thread all the way through. Yeah, there's still threads on there. Anyone who has one of these Burley trailers and is wondering, the threads on the end of this axle are 40 millimeters. And there's a little bit more than 20 millimeters of space in here. So I think to safely thread on this end piece here for the trailer, for the hitch, I think you need around at least 15 millimeters. But anyway, this just goes on, and then obviously I threaded it through a little too far, and then you just cinch it down. There it is. This is also, this little piece right here is also pretty genius because you can throw that in your bag if you're out on the trail and you need to make some kind of repair. This could really come in handy because I think this is 12 millimeter. I'm not sure. No one's going to be carrying around a 12 millimeter Allen key. So anyway, the Tailfin adapter, all it comes with are these two pieces. Came just like that.